Greetings, Catherine Stickroth here, trauma recovery specialist. Welcome to this channel for a life worth living, where we're reviewing post-trauma stress disorder and learning some tools to use to minimize, if not totally remove, the symptoms, the problematic symptoms of PTSD. Today, we're going to talk about ruminating. My first consideration of ruminating came from this book, Tim O'Brien, The Things They Carry. He's a Vietnam veteran, and he actually won a Pulitzer Prize for this book, where he recounted in a very creative way some things that happened in Vietnam. There's a chapter in here called, what's it called? Speaking of Courage. There's a chapter here called Speaking of Courage, where the character Norman Bowker starts driving around a lake in his hometown, because he's back in the United States of America, and he drives round and round. And while he's driving around, he's remembering growing up around the lake and some things that happened in Vietnam, and growing up on the lake and some things that happened in Vietnam. So he's going round and round and round, which is like circle thinking, which would be like ruminating. And it's like you have these memories and you just can't let them go. They just go round and around your head. And so I was like, ruminating, what does that mean? If there's a cattle person here, I beg your forgiveness in this picture of a cow. So a cow is a ruminant animal. She eats the grass, it goes inside, and then she spits it up again, and it's cud. And you'll see cows sitting out in the field chewing their cud. They're just chewing and chewing. Then they swallowed it again, and it goes to another compartment in the stomach, and then it goes to another compartment. Then it gets in the intestine, and what's left comes out on the other side. So it's a digestive process. And you know, sometimes you'll present a new idea, and somebody says, well, let me chew on that. Or let me digest that. Well, it's relating, those terms are relating to cows and how they digest their food for nutrition. So with these two ideas from the book, and then also studying about cows and their digestive system, I said, okay, when I have obsessive thoughts that go round and around and around and around, and I just cannot stop them, I said, what is going on in there? And so somewhere along the way, I learned about circle writing, where you get it out of your head onto paper. Now, this is something I typed and printed up and everything, but honestly, get a piece of computer paper, draw a circle, and start writing. And just start writing around the outer edge, and then you circle in a line, and then you circle in a line, and you circle in a line. You just keep writing and writing and writing and writing. Now you're going to be turning this page as you write, and that's why I say computer paper instead of a journal. But anyway, you'll finally get to the center, and that's what's really bothering you. Like in this example, this is just an example. I said, like, why was that cashier so rude to me? She is so dismissive. Oh, that reminds me of my mother. And then I was flooded with memories about my mother. And I kept writing, and get to the central part, the center of the circle, and it said, it's my fault. Because I was blamed for a lot of things that weren't mine. But then I could take whatever that center idea is, and I could go to my therapist, or go to my psychologist, or go to a 12-step sponsor, say, you know what, this really bothers me and I can't let it go. And then I can talk it out instead of the other person having to hear all the ramblings and walking out without anything productive happening. I can really get to the point of things and have a very productive therapy session, or whatever help I might have. So that's called circle writing, and I just want to encourage you to try it, especially like if your head is racing and you're going to bed and you cannot shut off those thoughts. I strongly encourage you to get it out of your head onto paper. Take the time, get out of bed. Won't take more than 15 minutes, and just park it there. And then the next day you can take care of it. It really makes a difference. So anyway, that's a tool that we can use. You know, we talked about the five steps, the 5 P's of PTS recovery. And so this is we talked about a problem and the plan, and so one thing we're going to put in our backpack is a lot of blank paper. When you do get this written, and like you're reading it to yourself, you know, and you turn the page, and you turn the page while you're reading it, you're going to actually be dizzy. And you're going to go, oh my goodness, no wonder I feel like this. You know, it's a physical representation of that part of PTSD that's so hard to identify. So I hope you find this helpful. I use it quite often, and the people, you know, if somebody calls me and they're just all over the map trying to tell me what's going on, I said, wait just a minute, wait. Let's get a piece of paper and you write it down, and then we'll go over it. So, and that seems to be really, really helpful to them as well. So I hope you found something valuable in this, and thank you again for coming to this channel for A Life Worth Living. I promise you that one tool will make a big difference in lowering anxiety, in parking intrusive thoughts so you can get some sleep, and identify what you would need to talk to a healthcare professional about. Okay, you take care, and we'll check in later. Bye-bye.